just like Kendall did this morning. When Pastor Deal baptized me, I grabbed a hold of that glass up there. I guess I wasn't ready to quite go under the water. Most of you know my story in here. You know my struggles. But for those of you that don't, by the time I was 12 years old, I began to experience with drugs. Yes, I said that in church. I know a lot of times today we wear the mask in church and we act like everything's okay and that we've got it all together. But let's be real, we don't. We all struggle. We all have things that we go through in life. And the church is the one place that we should be able to come to and talk about those things. Paul talks about in 2 Corinthians that he is glad to boast in his weakness so that the power of Christ can work through him. And that is exactly what I want to do this morning. I want the power of Christ to work through me and to maybe be able to share with you a little bit about what God's done in my life. 12 years old, began experimenting a little bit. Progressively got worse. Prescription pills took hold of my life by the age of 21. Really addicted. I would run through my prescription in probably about 7 days. Later led to harder things such as heroin and methamphetamines. And that's about all the glory I'm going to give to Satan today on that subject. Last October, I went to an 8-week treatment facility in Greenwood, South Carolina called Faith Home. And God began working in my life. You know, His word says it will not return void. And it did in my life. It wasn't anything my parents did. If you know them or you know my grandparents, you know that it was not the way I was raised. It was choices that I made. Took me a while in the wilderness. You know, the Israelites, it took them 40 years to make an 11-day trip. It took me 16. And I learned that in that wilderness, it is what you choose to do is how long you'll stay in that wilderness. And I chose to follow my own ways, do things that the world told me was cool or what I thought was fun. And I stayed in that wilderness for 16 years. Spent time in jail. Been on probation in 3 different counties. But anyways, like I said, when I was in Greenwood, God began to work in my life. And coming up next month, for the first time since I was 12 years old, I will have been clean and sober without a drink or a drug in my body for a full year since I was 12 years old. And it is absolutely nothing that I have done. None whatsoever. I surrendered my life truly once and for all. I tried to give up all the things that I was holding on to, the things that I thought would bring me lasting pleasure, because I realized that there is nothing in this world that will ever bring us lasting pleasure other than the joy of the Lord. Amen. I've been in a discipleship program for the last 8 months, just seeking God wholeheartedly every day, day in and day out. And it has made the biggest difference in my life. And I have 4 months left there, and then after that I plan on going to school. I feel called into the ministry. Not quite sure yet what I want to do, if I want to speak. I definitely feel led in that path, but I also want to help people that are struggling, because there are families in this church right here that are struggling with addiction. You may not talk about it while you're here, that's fine. We can wear the mask and we can just avoid the problem, but there are families that are hurting, and as the body of Christ, we are supposed to be the hands of Christ. We are supposed to reach out and help those in need, and that is what God has laid on my heart to do. And so those are my plans for the future. For those in this church that have prayed for me over the years, I greatly appreciate it, and I hope that this testimony will increase your faith to know that God is still answering prayers. And just goes to show that it doesn't matter how messed up you are or what you've done in this life, that God can use you and can change your life to help and impact the kingdom. And once again, thank you for the opportunity to share this morning, and appreciate it.